Welcome to the meeting, and we open up with Cindy. Can we get a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Bland.
Here.
Mr. Reiniger.
Here.
Mr. Robinson.
Here. Okay, we get a
86, 43, Jordan Road, fire alarm. Veteran.
And we get a motion to approve the minutes.
Reference 15.4.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from September 6th to the 20th of 2023 meeting.
I was second the motion.
Okay. Mr. Blanton.
Yes.
Mr. Reiniger.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to start tonight with the police report. Good evening, everyone. Well, yes. If they turn it down, I'm thinking. So for month of September, there were 316 total runs in my township. 123 of those were dispatched. 93 of those were self-initiated or not billable. Service exchange. Miami Township cars were requested outside of the area of Miami Township 14 times. There were sent 98, they were disregarded 16. 101 times county cars from outside the township were requested to help inside. 51, they responded, 50, they were disregarded. Officers took 7 criminal reports during the month of September and 8 non-criminal reports. And they took 7 auto accident reports. I would mention some of those were my favorite, so they were quite active. Any questions?
I didn't hear that last word. What did you say?
One of those auto accidents, unfortunately, fatal an investigation by our traffic.
What was that?
On my house.
Fire ground 5.
I did receive a call from Mr. Beck yesterday, and he was gonna be here. He's saying he's lived down where he's at there. What's his address? Susan?
Down here.
Yeah, okay.
Condo in Hampton. I don't know who's doing it.
He says he hasn't seen a patrol car down there. He lived there a year. He's not seen a car down there one time. That's S and Oaks? Yeah. Condominium. Yeah. And we got the same report from the guy on Wayne Gallia. And I won't tell you his name, but you probably know he works. He said he hasn't seen one out there in 9 years. I find that hard to believe. Well, just so you know, anybody, what they see, their observations, I have a semester control. Just already talked to Mr. Blanton about another area, so I'll hit on that very hard tomorrow. That's fine, because Mr. Buck is gonna be here. You call him on what time the meeting started. Maybe he'll show up.
So I'll be having some stuff. You talked to Mr. Miller, the Moran, I got a call about the development of the Indian Law, back in Indian Law, Miranda homes.
Okay.
About the tearing up the streets, but they're also leaving mud and debris and all kinds of stuff. So if we can try to start monitoring that a little bit, the damage, I know you guys can know about that, but we're gonna meet with them, and I talked to him about it. And, but the mod and especially when we're ready to bring. We need, you guys to start monitoring.
Sure.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
And if I don't think you said somebody's gonna go out and talk to them. If you ever want another officer to go with you, just for safety reasons, presence reasons, that you can always request them.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I don't think safety is gonna be an issue because it's gonna be representative from the the groups.
Yeah, sometimes it's
So
just
we
better
gotta
to have a
come
little
to
presence.
we gotta come to some kind of agreement because they're tearing up the road in the cul-de-sac, the small cul-de-sac there and the road itself where they built that. So.
Well, Mr. Baxter walked in, I made your concerns known to the officer about. What was the answer? He said that, he would send some more patrol down your way. Now, how Pickaway and Gallagher,
What are, excuse me, I'll just,
go ahead.
the daytime or the 24-hour car, you don't need more patrol, you just, where's our guy at?
Yeah.
And I've been there 10 months and I've never seen a person, a car down there. One of your retired deputies, on record, has lived there 9 years. He said he's never seen anybody. And are you doing, it's not a non-dedicated street.
Problems,
Don't ask him, Lewis.
I didn't know he had moved.
He's been there 9 years.
Thought he lived on Zion.
He did, 25 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. He moved around a little bit.
Don't knock on his door, he had surgery.
Okay.
Like 10 surgery on his back.
Okay.
But the question is, are you doing?
Well, I can tell you my officers are out in the field. They are out doing patrol. I can't say why you haven't seen them. I can't say, and I never call anybody that what you're seeing is believing, right? So I'll get the officers out there. I'll make sure that they're out there more so that you,
And this is something that was probably done in history. Ron said when he was on the road patrol, which is probably, when they still did, or lucky. But he said there was a log that they kept.
now he wasn't that long ago. Because he was my sergeant when I was a detective, so that would put me way back.
Okay. But it just, my question is, township's gonna need to go back for a levy for more money eventually. And if that kind of stuff, people have no visibility of patrol, getting levies is gonna be tough.
Certainly.
And, I just think visibility on patrol, I know you got many other things to do. To me, you should still have time to room at least once a month or so.
Get it through the neighborhood. I got you. Yeah.
That's, I think, what we've been missing.
Okay.
Okay.
I got you.
The only law we really have now is the run law, you guys. That's the only run. Yeah, it just shows the run where they've been. It doesn't tell you what you've done for the rest of the time. Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So Roseland.
Sorry.
Private drives.
Yeah.
Got a gentleman asking me about putting signs up and stuff on his private drive,
What sign?
no parking signs. I told him before HOA.
Yeah, I would hesitate to give advice when I don't know exactly. Is it really private? Is it something that dealt with before? But maybe take some calls. Direct them to our.
Advanced history has been on private drives. You can't put signs up and they can't, they can put a warning, but they can't ticket them because.
No, we wouldn't be able to.
No, they have to force it with.
Well, that's what I don't wanna guess it, whether they're actually private, because I have no idea. I'd have to talk to them and see what the street it actually is and all that.
Hamptonshire Drive.
Hamptonshire.
Drive. It's a private drive.
They can put up signs. We're not gonna be able.
That's what I told him. I don't think they can enforce it.
Yeah.
I said, you'd have to do it through your HOA and make a rule that you can charge it to them. I'm sure some kind of fine you can put on there for parking on both sides of the street.
But that would be.
I don't think they want to put signs in there. Private drives. They don't like signs. All right.
Well, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got one quick question. Did you ever find out who the Ferrari guy was?
We never caught the Ferrari on the bridge.
You put him away from you.
We did.
I haven't seen him. I've been looking for him. that's why I wanted to do. He lives around.
I haven't seen.
I'm just curious.
Thank you much. Fire. East Street.
You guys have your reports in? Let's go to, September 23. For fire runs, we ended up with 43 total fire details, 14 in township, 7 in Pleas, 22 mutual aid, with 11 being canceled and out. For EMS details, we had 164 for 88 in township, 13 in Madison, 31 in Cleves, 9 in North Bend. We received 1 mutual aid and we gave out 11 times mutual aid to other departments. Just your different graphs that help you kind of see a little bit. Our next one is a code enforcement. You can see this is not a running total, it's just for the month of September. You can see that there's still living on pre-plans and inspections and keeping up on that. They do a pretty good job doing that. On the hydrant report, you will see the number went up by 128. Nothing's really been fixed since the first time we started reporting in July. So we do have 1 new one. That's just because it's the it's a hydrant at the corner of Foxtrot and White Lane that they're going to the subdivision. And so that one had to be stopped so they could get everything tied together. But an email was sent out to our department, so we know that that's not a good hydrant now. So as far as you can see, there hasn't been any fixing by Cleves or Edison yet. Yeah, so I'll have to find out, see how many times there's been any kind of correspondence with them for that.
Is this the email you sent? Is this the report you sent?
That should be, actually on their report, that when they get a report, that should show up for them to, or they know. I mean, I just say.
We were talking about during the meeting.
Yeah, it should be, yeah. I will make sure, but I believe they get that same report.
Okay. So I think the board, I think we need to take the report, we need to add a letter to it, and send it to each village and request an answer on as far as the repair and replacement or whatever we need to fix this for it. From my going purpose, we talked about this for last few months.
Yes.
I think since they're not taking any action, I think we, as the board, we need to do that. So if you can get us that, give us a copy, an original copy, or it look like the original copy to Ken.
Yeah.
And then we draft a letter.
All that number.
Letter,
You what? I don't know. I was trying to find out.
Okay. Sorry.
I don't know.
Here to see is the actual physical addresses of the hydrants that are.
okay. Yeah, so we can attach both. Then.
You what? Council member. Oh, they did?
And they kind of tell you what,
What's the name?
a lot of them broken stems.
Administrator?
Checks.
Good, maybe we can get a fucking chief then.
Check on them, just make sure before we get the time, to make sure the draw.
That David Street's talking. I want to hear him.
Those to, thank you.
And you go to the last one for the department's report, see, as far as our medics. One shift, we had 7 medics, with 6 medics, 4 shifts, 5 medics, 22 shifts, 4 medics is our optimal, what we just like to have.
Send him $38.
Each of them. And everything
I paid him too.
transported, that we got our host testing for 2023. And so that's all complete, so good.
You okay, Mike?
Yes. Go ahead. You can see here to thank you to Drew Tenenfeld. He was a former firefighter here. And somehow he comes across all these deals and donations, and he ended up coming across 2 truckloads, semi-trucks full of water. So he calls all departments around, everybody else, and he donates water. So it actually said donated a skid. There was actually 2 skids of water to the fire department. And Ronnie helped us out with taking take a dump truck up there and getting them on a dump truck, but ended up being like over 3,800 bottles of water. So that's dispersed between all the fire department. I think you got some too, that you're on.
Jimmy helped unload.
Okay, you did.
One case.
One case, he helped us one case.
He was there.
And also, there was a 30-year veteran, Larry, Steinman, I'm sure some of you know, he passed away. And we're honored to be able to get into, with our fire truck or possession. Mr. Beck kind of told us about it, asked if we wanted to do it, and I said, absolutely, so he set it up for us, so we had our,
I thank you for doing it.
oh, no problem.
Good.
We had our fire truck from the church all the way down to the, down there, so it was kind of nice to do that one. We sent flowers there. Something that you don't see, is something I want to bring up about it the last time. Well, the last meeting we had, I asked you to up our allowance for the medical. That was $2,500, and it ended up being like 3,800. So we got that, and I thank you again for the approval for that. But as one of our firefighters, Dan Hyde, was doing work, he works at that company, and I did come across where he ended up saving us $1,000 for that. So what ended up being your PO was 3,886, ended up being 2,886. So it's kind of nice to save money. Not that bad.
I had 50 generator letters, thank you guys for the water.
Yeah.
So that's 50 generators.
Yeah, that's actually the second time we've done that. And they did it a few years ago. Don't know where to run the process, and don't have to ask. So let's get in or out. Yeah. Well, I think the 1 year is actually, I think that every package was displayed where they had like 40 bottles instead of 48 to be good selling. And we know some people who got all donated. So that's all I had. Hard line.
We had one part-timer leave. Mr. Lovis.
I want to say 2. I want to say 1 just kind of turned his name.
Oh, literally.
Well, he had worked with us, since April or something. I hadn't been here, so I think we finally got, hey, send us the letter, and so we can kind of keep up with our bonus. Yeah.
Anything for the fire department?
Why is there so many, fire hydrants out of order from stems?
I don't know why they break. I don't know if it's just age or not. I don't know. Because
Is it
we
lack
check
of
them.
use?
Huh?
Is it for the lack of use? You're
We
talking
check
about
them
the
every-
stem and the
yeah.
top, right?
Yeah, we check them every year. Like in the springtime, we check them, we flow, make sure that they flow. And then with that, but in the fall time, we just open the cap up, make sure there's no water and make sure it's not leaking into that. I don't know if there's recommended how many times you can turn on a stem. I don't know, because I think every time you turn it on, you're probably gonna break more. I don't know if it's just the way the mechanics of it work or not.
Well, I'm thinking because they're not being opened that often and possibly rust building up on them or.
Yeah, and I could ask to find out and see. I don't know exactly why some stems are breaking.
Yeah, I'm more willing to use one to, fill my water tank. If we keep opening and closing, it'll be a stretch point.
You'll get one working good one.
Yeah, we'll have one working real good. I mean, I'm willing to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Robbie, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Karen from Senior Center.
September report. September 7th, members went to La Camedia, which is a show dinner place up near Middletown. and, had a buffet lunch and watched the musical, Death Deserves musical, bake session. It was a nice outing. September 13th, went on our second outing to Waynesville. And we're finding the seniors like to travel and they like to go on outings. It's very popular. So a lot of our outings that we schedule, we have to go twice. We have wait lists. And so they like to, if they can't travel places on their own or so it's a popular thing that we do. So that was our second, outing to Waynesville. And on the 28th, we went to the Cathedral Basilica Resumption in Covington, and we'll probably do another trip going there. It's another popular, outing. 20th, our last Reds game, 22nd, acute hearing. They came to the program, provided lunch, and did a lot of hearing tests for the seniors. So it was a nice event. Seniors took advantage of that. So hopefully we'll have them out again sometime, maybe twice a year. So well, good thing to offer to the members. September 26th, Dave and Jackie McCoy came and performed at the center. Dave McCoy, he performed years ago on the Bob Rowan show and Nick Queenie show. So a lot of members remembered him from. So that was nice. We did songs from golden oldies, I guess. So I know we had snacks and drinks, so that was nice. Like I said, the 28th, the Basilica in Covington. Upcoming next week, we have the Cincinnati Reds coming back for a special trivia day. There'll be prizes, and that's their last visit to the center. There'll be 3 visits that we've had from them, so that's the last one. Upcoming November 3rd, Bill Kroll will be at the center to perform. He's a local guy, so he'll be here at the center November 3rd at 1. Want to come and watch them, but call the center for a reservation. So that's real cool. I do want to say our new group, our senior center chorus that we started, has been really nice. They're sounding really good. So, and they
Say that again.
sounded really good. And they already have like 3 events scheduled. So, it's been a great thing. And I want to bring down there, I'm gonna get t-shirts made for them sometime that says maybe Miami Township Senior Center, so when they go to different places, they can promote us. And so maybe Paul can help me out with that sometime. But anyway, so that's exciting. And then,
Instead of t-shirts, what else would you?
yeah, that'd be great. That would look nice. Okay, yeah, that would be wonderful.
Just suggestion.
No, I love it. So, yeah. Okay, so I'll bring that up. But, so yeah, so I'm really excited about that. And I said this before in the past, our sign in the front, we're getting a lot of good feedback from the sign. It looks really nice. I'm getting a lot of compliments about that. And then our new TVs are up very recently, up and running. We used them yesterday. We get them around. So thank you for that. Those are nice. And I don't have this on my report, but in September we had a free market. Hamilton County and Miami Township Pride Committee, which Carrie's a part of too. And that was a big success. So we got a bunch of food from free pantry, and most of it was vegetables and fruits and stuff. We never know what we're going to get. Yeah. But we had a great response. And the 503 bus. Oh, the 503 bus was there. Thank you. And offered a lot of resources with that. So it was a good thing for the community, and it was well received. And whatever leftovers we had, we gave to like Tram and then some other pantries in the community. So hopefully we'll do it again, maybe in the spring. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I said something about that. So any questions or?
Thanks, Terry.
That's it?
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Miller, Maintenance Department.
It's right there. Yeah, it's right there. Oh. Thank you.
How's everybody? I don't really have whole ones, but I see a couple gentlemen here for about the well, so me and Dan are looking into it. We're trying to get a couple more numbers. I found out that Aurora did bring something up out of the ground down there with a backflow on it. And they have a water line run with it, so trying to get some ideas from other people, what to do with it. Because we're gonna have to enclose this, we're gonna have to winterize it. Because it's gonna be out into the cold, so we are looking into it. I know you heard the back, I know you've heard a lot of it. Do what? Backflow to keep it from freezing. Yeah, and that's what I said, we're gonna have to put it back. So I went over and looked at Nyers, because I talked to you that day. Nyers was pretty simple. If you go down the road, where they got their fence at, you look straight through, they have one there with the backflow and everything on. So we're trying to get somebody to look into that and see what kind of cost it will be. So,
Yeah, the one we got back from Meyer was, what, 41,000?
he said they had 20%.
Yeah,
So the
so
price
it's 41,000, so we're trying to give this route, and who's getting back with us? Was it Meyer or
There was a
Ken?
guy over at Nyer that comes out so well when you get more.
And we're trying to do,
You're very hard. Yeah. He came out, I talked to him, I said, try to get us something together pretty simple. And see what we can do. I said, we'll have to have back though. My idea was to put a shed over top of it once we get it in there, stub it out the side. So we can keep
Yeah,
it.
like I said, newspaper, concrete, for get blocked, laid, don't know who wanted.
I think the biggest thing we need to get down there, and just see where we can set it. So
How about the fire hydrant?
that's what my idea was. We was gonna go into the back side of the lot where we bought it,
Yeah,
but we're thinking there's probably 4 foot of fill on there. And that water line's probably gonna be 10 foot deep. We really don't wanna dig down that deep to try to. We hope this is a temporary, we hope we get water.
but the deeper it is, the less it'll freeze, right?
Yes.
I mean, if you're 10 foot in the ground, then it ain't gonna
Well,
freeze.
we're still gonna have to worry about the top, so.
And then the backflow would take care of that.
That's what we're trying to find out everything. But we are looking into it.
Okay. So what, another week, 2 weeks?
I'm hoping we get something back this week.
Okay.
Once, so he can go on, carry on with that.
Was you the one looking into the other person on East Miami that, possibly has got a water?
We got a phone number for him. I think Dan's gonna share with.
yeah, I got it.
Oh,
I got it, and if you stay for the meeting, I'll give it to you.
okay.
Ron sent me the number and the address of it, okay? I was gonna share it with you, you were coming to my phone, so.
Yeah,
I'll share it with you, okay?
okay.
Cause I've heard that a couple times, there's nobody calling him. He's always closed.
The gates on the right-hand side going out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy's never there.
Only when he's loading his truck with water.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've seen him back his truck.
Who is it? Water Hall.
I can't recall the name on the side of the truck, honestly. So you
Yeah.
spit one out, I don't wanna say mislead anybody. But I've seen them there loading, they got that box trailer sitting there on the ground, and he's got a connection inside that trailer.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's what we kind of want to look at and see what he had, something simple like that.
You know, I mean,
Tell them, Dave, we'll get that block. I won't.
I'm a human bricklayer, I'll build the damn building.
I just want to make sure we are looking at.
Yeah,
And I'll give you that number and try to make contact with him, at least that'll, maybe he'll suffice for that Saturday, you guys.
Right.
And we'll keep working on this.
just to give you an example of my urgency in this. I work 6 days a week. Naira isn't available to me. I can't be there when their hours of operation are open. So I'm having to go to Lawrenceburg Road out in Harrison to get water. That's shut down. It's out of order. Now I have to go to Butler County up to Burlington to get water, and it's non-potable water that I'm having to put into my house. This is the year 2023. We dealt with pandemics and everything else. This is a health issue, fellas. You wouldn't want this going into your house for your family. You need to do something. This is an urgency. Unless I've been misled. I don't know how many years ago back it's been, But you've got federal grants to run the damn one. I don't know why it hasn't been done. Period. You don't have no problem putting in a damn pickleball court.
We won't allow us to put it in. That's the problem. We want to put it.
Now, please, is saying you're lying to us. You know, but that, I don't know.
Ronnie, why would I sit here and lie to you?
I'm not gonna.
When I told you we-
All I know is there's a Miami Township
We made it.
maintenance facility building on Cooper Road. All this about building a building and this and that, you could give us a hookup right there. You could give us a hookup right there at the Miami Township Maintenance Facility building.
We would still be closed at 4 o'clock.
What?
Well, we go home, we're not gonna leave our building with everything.
Put it, make it accessible to the road. You got the driveway that goes up the
I
side.
think the ones put it out in right.
No, but you got the driveway that's on the other side that's not gated and locked off, that goes up to the other side of the building. Can't something be put up there? Every one of us can back up that driveway, hook up to water, and go about our way. I'm happy to drive to another county to get non-potable water for my family. This is wrong.
You're telling me, I lived on Buffalo Ridge, I hauled water for years. So I'm with you, I know.
I got a brother that's retired from Cincinnati Water. He tried to pull every string he could so I could get water off of Bridgetown Road at the water tower.
Yeah.
Unless I'm a business or a company, I can't have access to that.
And that's another thing, we put this in, we probably gonna restrict it to residents, not to water haulers.
Well,
Just
Yeah,
because we don't want them pulling out there and making money on the township's water.
well, yeah. I mean, I don't expect you to put it in and give it to me for free. Don't get me wrong. You take your water bill that you have at home. I had a house with leaves. I sold it a couple of years back. I figured it out. I paid 6 cents a gallon. Okay, charge me 6 cents a gallon to fill my damn tank. I'll pay the water. I got no problem with it. I just need access. It's a shame to feel like a second-class citizen because I live on the bottom half of Jordan Road, when the people at the top of Jordan Road have all the amenities that this township is willing to supply. The people down at the bottom of Jordan Road, you get to the bottom of the damn hill and go from there down. We ain't entitled to crap. We pay the same amount of taxes, the same everything. We don't get crap. If my house catches on fire, there ain't a damn thing you can do to stand there and make sure the woods around me don't catch fire. Because you don't have enough water access to put it out. Now, the last time I was up here, the man from the fire department said, "We'll drop a pump in your well or your cistern." I don't think so. The access to my cistern's 3 feet from my garage door. If my house is on fire, you ain't gonna go drop a pump in there. You don't even know if there's water in it. I'm sorry, something needs to be done. Period.
Gas line too, on gas line. It's environmentally friendly. Instead of fuel oil.
There's a lot of my township don't have gas.
Oh, really?
Right.
I don't know. Hey, sure.
All right, delivered next.
Okay.
Firehouse, I talked to Bill, we did get 500 gallons out there, so it's good to contact all of us to come out there and get everything set up. So it's on that. I appreciate it. The other thing, I guess when we had that meeting, we did discuss whether we should fill that all the way up. I think it's better if we can hold as much moisture. I think it's down. So
So what they got?
it's 500 and they can regulate it now, so they can do everything they're supposed to do.
Pressure test.
Yeah.
That's what the, so the buildings are, right?
So we, if I can, so I convened a meeting with Mr. Miller, Mr. Hughes, Assistant Chief Street, everybody on this township side. We met with DER, MSA, basically with architects, engineers, and had a meeting, and I think we were, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like we're all on the same page at this point. We heard from our architect that there is a 1-year workmanship warranty, and that, contacted Frost Brown Todd, and they have their specialist, a partner who deals with construction, who is reviewing all the documents. And once they give us a green light, then we will, sign off on both the 2 certificates of substantial completion as well as the change order, that are outstanding, but, before I assumed any liability and ownership of that, I wanted to make sure that our legal, signed off and said that it was okay, but, we now are aware that it is ours, and, so we're working with the group, and I appreciate you guys coming together and communicating well, but, we're working through any else, any issues that we have right now.
So we know for sure that we've got till April 24th, and that's it? Or do we?
No, so April of 22, we moved in there and it became operational. So April of 2022, that's when our fire department moved in, started operating and responding to runs out of that station. So that's the first certificate of substantial completion. Then additional updates and upgrades and things on the punch list was taken care of. And if you recall, we had our open house on 9/11 of 22. So there is a second certificate of substantial completion for September the 10th, the day before, where they had agreed and followed through with a number of the things that they had agreed to do. And so there will be one more after this tank is filled and everything's calibrated and checked off on. It will be a third certificate of substantial completion that we will sign off on. And those are essentially the 3 major documents that we have to approve, and that releases some of the retainers and money that that was agreed
So
upon.
we're just staying with getting all the punch lists fixed.
Well, I mean, the only thing that we really is maybe some training with the HVAC, right?
They got a small list of stuff that's need to be.
You had a list, Ronnie. Now, do you want to know if it was our list or their list?
I shared that with MSA, and that's where they said that anything that was for a year from April of 22, so essentially in April of 23, they were pretty much done. And and our former fire chief was really the point person on a lot of that. Managing those projects and those punch lists and things. And so we've got a few things to take care of, but most of it is cosmetic, other than making sure.
You said meeting with heating there and about that water tank.
Right. Yeah. So I think the 4 of us are all in agreement on where things stand.
Do we think here on out, we take it?
They said if they send anything back, they will charge us to sit their contractor. So we use our own contractor.
And we all agree that in some instances, it makes sense to use the same one. In some instances, it might make sense to use others that we could save a little bit and be more efficient.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, is they're using the same contract, and it's only been a year. It seems like we need something different. It's just.
Our air tank's kind of up off the heating and air down there, looking, they still don't have access to that.
No, we didn't access.
He said basically he called that company that met with us that time out there. I think Rob was there when it kind of came out the first time. And we gave him all that information at that time. He came in.
Yeah, I was kind of getting started. So
Yeah.
they connected on our laptop.
Okay, with you, we're gonna get with you.
Yeah. That was good.
It's a bug. You plugging it in, plugging it off. Turn on, turn off. Yes, yeah.
I appreciate you taking care of fuel.
And Cindy did mention on fuel like that, if it's a necessity, we can order it, right? Yeah. Didn't want you to know that too. All right,
Okay.
painting of the hydrants, whatever happened with the contractor with the hydrants, talking about all that. I think that was before the YouTube, so we had a contractor, a guy that was painting, I think he went out of business. So I don't know if we want to try to do something else, we want to start doing in-house painting again, because I mean, he got quite a few of them done, but there's still some. Look at. I might try to find somebody else. I know this gentleman went out there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I got his name. So. You should have a billing. That's all I have. There's a gentleman for Durango Green. It's not winter time yet. We bring the snow already.
Are you gonna, all right, are you gonna try to look for somebody?
Do I?
You know,
I will, like he said, Nick, I think got his contact. I don't want to agree. Got a gentleman wants to supply one, he wants to take care of one, he can paint and everything.
Yep. I'll use
Maybe
one
two,
down
you
there
can use
at,
one in different areas.
I'll use one down there at Backshires.
There you go. That's the place where I like to go.
Okay.
That seems to you just, yeah.
We need to find out which ones are broke, because I'm planning to paint them until they're fixed. They may have to replace them.
Yep. Like, Jimmy, safety department.
Then they steal them. Yeah, they did steal them, right, Dan? I know what's called a brand new. Somebody on these ones. Get it? I was laying there and never did. They're gone. So, you know, it disappeared. Walk the hydrants. Hi, everybody. Should have a copy of the monthly report, another good month, nobody injured, no accidents, fire trucks, nothing like that. So we have two currently for the year, one of them still a pending, claim with BWC, and we have some litigation coming up in the next, couple of weeks, with the industrial commission on that claim. I'll let you know how it comes out, and I don't want to say too much. I gave you a kind of a rundown of the last 5 years. These are BWC claims, kind of let you know how many we had, what department was responsible, and how many there were. And if you look at that, and you look at the number of equipment that our maintenance department operates, fires that our personnel go on, EMS details, that's a pretty impressive list. We like to see zero, but that's, you know, they are really concerned about safety, and that shows the results. Did the Hamilton County, the Hamilton Safety Council meeting, and the EMA director from Montgomery County there talked about how they would respond against that incident, and what role they would play. It was pretty interesting. Robert also had a good turnout. There was a lot of good information between on how another county. You know how kind of, you know, Hamilton County. Go to Butler County. Talked to Mr. Rainiger, and I believe he's going to get a resolution tonight. I think he has it. I'm going to take care of that. But it's a few months ago we went to a EMA Hamilton County Disaster Preparedness meeting lasted about half a day here, and a lot of entities were here from various communities. What we looked at is how prepared are we should disaster happen in Miami Township, and what are our needs. So we did that, and they accepted what our needs were, and they for us to be eligible for any federal funds should a disaster or emergency occur, you gotta get the resolution, and that's what that prepared to take care of it. So that's good. We want to make sure that God forbid we have disasters. I went to the senior center and conducted a class, some of the seniors know how to use an AED. A lot of people are afraid of it, but it was well received and a lot of questions and reactions from the using trainer aid we had. And we might do that once a year when we're talking about this. We had our first safety meeting in a while and well attended by the department heads and a lot of things that we discussed for, various accidents and things so far this year. We talked about completing our safety building inspections before the end of the year, getting our driver license points updated. So, there's a number of things that we have to adhere to and live beyond that. To ensure our carrier. So that's in the process now. And I handed out a lot of monthly topics for them. They call lunch box safety talks once a month. Within 1 hour. And I attended, of course, a Zoom meeting with 4 of us and got a lot resolved. I do want to say one thing for the public. We have winter approaching, and I mentioned this last month about having your furnaces serviced and ready. This morning, 5 o'clock, we had a detail with the carbon monoxide alarm with a sick person. We're not even in the real heating months, so please make sure you're eating home. Working properly. We don't want to. Thank you. Mr. Overy.
Good evening. So in September, there are 13 events in September in the community center and the lower level. Slow month at town hall, there's only 1 event. Total for 2023 so far between town hall, the lower level, and the community center, there are 242 events that are scheduled between January and December of 2023. Of the 242 events, 13% of those are non-residents. Everyone else is a resident of the township. Few quick thank yous. Ronnie and his crew, couple maintenance issues. In September, they fixed an outside toilet that I didn't even know was broken. Took care of leaves on the patio lot and replaced a planter. Actually, that was this month, but thanks for replacing the planter. Mike Taylor finally got the cable streaming to the community center, which is huge, so thank you for that. Sissy keeps current with the website for us, putting things like the open house we do every month and any open to the public events. So I appreciate that. Held an open house in September 3rd, on September 13th, and 16 guests attended that open house. For the months of November and December, we are not going to be able to hold an open house just because it is so booked in the community center. It's difficult to find an evening. So the only weeknights I had were like the night before Thanksgiving, so that wouldn't work. So of course, I will be readily available for any private showings that people want to do in the evenings or during the day. Go Yoga is coming up, back by popular demand. We're going to offer 2 sessions on October 26th, one at 5:30, the next one at 6:45. We have 45 spots taken, so there's roughly about 20 spots still available for Go Yoga. It's hugely popular. Hard to believe, but I'm getting tons of phone calls about 2025. So I'm not booking 2025 until the 2nd week of January. So just want everyone to know that the books will be open for 2025, the 2nd week of January. So people stop calling me about it. I'm just kidding. I like phone calls. You're welcome to call. We are excited that Friday, December 8th, from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock here at the community center, we will be hosting Winter Wonderland in Miami Township. It's a family event for all ages. We will have lots of activities for families for free to come up and enjoy here. And there will be more information coming out about that on our Facebook page and our website. So that's it right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Santa's coming, right?
Yes, definitely.
JJ, Park.
Yeah,
Danny.
yeah, JJ and I met with, Three Rivers Athletic Association, the new athletic director for the new AD for Taylor High School. and also the baseball coach with Taylor High School. So we worked out, we wanted to make sure both of them being new, what is expected of them. They use our, varsity for our big field. And they've been using it since we opened the park. But we had a meeting, it was a good meeting, probably about an hour long, and we worked that out. So that's the only thing that happened with the park.
Okay, going into public, before we start public,
You got it.
what?
Mr. Taylor.
Mike Taylor, sorry, Mike. All right. Hey, no, he's away then for a day. I mean,
Everyone. I sent out my, updates for the projects I had completed, over these last few weeks, and we've had many, new installations, so talking about park band, sound system is up and operational, so we can play music internationally. Everything works great, we've now visited, you can hear announcements from the concession building out in the soccer fields, so we got great range.
So can I have JJ reach out to you and we can go over instructions with them and all that?
Yeah.
And then probably Andy Messer also.
Right.
You know,
So-
what we do,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
So we'll get with them, so they're gonna be the primary users down there, so.
Right.
We'll touch base with them, so that's a great, installation down there, it's working wonderfully, like I played music now, I was walking in, you just, you probably hear it, it's a great setup down there, so. I think a lot of people will enjoy it down there. And of course, our sound system here in the boardroom was upgraded yesterday. Our new microphones here is, integrated with our overhead speaker and the amplifier system. We upgraded the connectivity for the projector, and all the sound here, so we're on par with what we needed here in the boardroom, so thanks for the approval. But this, I think everybody can hear better out in the audience through the speaker system. So that's a plus. Appreciate that. That was done. Like Carrie said, TVs are operational at the community center. New TVs are home for Karen, working there. All the new computers that were ordered are installed with the exception of one. They're making some changes to placement of a station 68. Outstanding items I still have, pending approvals, to look at again for the audio video upgrades for the community center. I submitted that. I think Carrie has sent that over to, it's the same company that we used here for our speaker system in the boardroom. So definitely take a look at that. It's a pretty substantial savings over our original state-of-the-art upgrade that we were looking at was around 28,000. And with some refurbished equipment, recently acquired and new projector and some of the sound stuff, we've cut that down to right around a little less than $9,000. So I think that'll get us into the future pretty well. It's all digital equipment, laser, projector. So look at that and maybe get some improvement on that and get that installed.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you taking care of that as well. And I would think that, could bring that up in the future, but yeah, I definitely want to do it. Just to make sure the timing's right.
Right. UAW software, and working with the state of Ohio, Cindy got me access through the state, to the state installation with their team. I just think gotta get that scheduled, hopefully, early next week, we'll get that installed. And then I'm gonna work with Megan, and she's gonna work on the new configurations. We're gonna transfer off the old state computer onto the new one that we've installed. So that is upcoming, with UAN. And then the last thing is the digital sign here for this building. Like Karen said, we've had a lot of feedback from community members. I stop in once or twice a week and work with Karen, updating timing on scrolling. People say, I couldn't read that. We're doing all that. We want to do the same thing up here because it's a great resource. We can start putting those community bulletins here as well. The communications devices in this sign are no longer supported. It's an old radio device. The company we're working with is going to just come out at their convenience, but they're in date, and so they haven't been back on market. It's $125 scheduled to come out. I would like to get approval to call them and say, come out and let's do this. Then go ahead and schedule a service call, and if that's possible, we get approval on that.
Yeah, I will make the motion, or I don't even know, it's $125, but.
Yeah.
You hear that they're not coming down the next, 2 weeks or something like that,
Go ahead and schedule an
Yeah.
appointment.
so I'll buy them coffee if they just.
I told them,
Coffee donuts or something, yeah.
stop down, have a bagel. But no, I think we're in a good spot. Everything's, been stable. All our systems are back online. Any questions from you guys? Sure.
Good job, go forward with that.
Good job, Mike.
Thank you.
Glad you're here.
I'd just like to say that, we kind of brought this up last meeting, I don't know that you were here, but, I made the, proposal, an initial proposal that we, look to reactivate our YouTube channel, and that we make the video of this meeting more accessible so that we're more transparent and that folks can see it at home and just, be informed. So I think that that's important for our public to see what goes on at our meetings. And so if the board has any discussion, I'm happy to entertain that but the idea was that we wanted to wait until Mr. Taylor was able to upgrade, get these upgraded microphones so that sound quality was better. And thank you for taking care of that and getting that done by today's meeting. But if there's no opposition, then I would ask that I'll work with you and we'll try to get that reactivated, upload the video from the meetings, and then again, look for ways to do that.
We did work through your approvals and we put the pro Zoom version in place, so it's not restricted to that 30-minute cutoff on meetings. So now you got to a 30-hour consecutive meeting with 100 consecutive users online at a time. So we're ready to make that step. We'll do some testing and then.
Is there any cost to us?
For the pro version that we did, we made an annual subscription for that. It was, with everything for the thing, it was probably $200.
Yeah, it's like the next $7,200, but I'm not sure if we'll do it Zoom, because then we talked about some of the issues with comments and how that would work. So we may just look at YouTube to try to get it out through website, social media, different things, but both, the idea is to make sure that you guys are okay with us reacting.
It's a Miami Township YouTube channel where we used to post when we were getting tapes either from the community channel that would come here and record it for us. We uploaded those, or like we had our own digital camera back here and we recorded it and then we uploaded the videos. But from Zoom, we can download it from our actual Zoom meeting and then translate it, upload it to the Miami Township YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm on for it.
Okay, fine. All right, appreciate it.
Okay, now we're trying to public, but, what do you, go ahead. Mike was the last, Mike. Okay. No, I just got to introduce this. John here is the 30th district sergeant. Is that right? Mind right now?
I'm sorry.
We can introduce, go ahead. Got the parks and help. All right, let's just take a minute. Let's just take a minute. Want to introduce Mike, okay, and, he's running and is a state rep for the 30th district. Bill Sykes is getting out of the business. After all these years, just, you want to come and see what we do here and see where we meet and introduce himself to, those who are here.
I'm not gonna take any of your time. I just came here to monitor. I've met with the superintendent of Three River Schools. I want to meet with all the officials, and really what's the most important part of our government is local government. And I am a huge, huge fan and will defend and support Miami Township and the township form of government. That's all I really want to say right now, but I'm running in the 30th district. It'll be in 2024. Bill Sykes is retiring. I've got his endorsement. I've also got the endorsement of Melissa Powers, the Hamilton County prosecutor, and others. But the bottom line is I'm here to learn and support, and I will be very, very responsive to all the needs of the citizens of Miami Township, but also, of course, the public officials. So just want to introduce myself. Mike Gudioso in 2024.
Thanks, Mike. Health department. They here?
I don't think they showed up.
See, you can go over again. Sure doesn't believe it, you want to abuse me. Great parks.
John, Sean, I thought that was good. Great Parks was the blue ridge.
It's West Region Blue Wave Trail System. We'll be able to.
Yeah, we'll get you going right here in just a second.
That's that blue system.
Okay, I'm not abusing you. Usually. Where's your popcorn?
Dim that first set of lights, right?
Got to be able to take care of, advancing the slide.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, just let it know, so rotate it through.
Great. So I'm Sean Creighton, landscape architect and project manager for this project, the West Region Blue Lane Trail System. I'm just here this evening to tell you a little bit about the project. It's a pretty exciting project, and if you guys find some just points in it. Let's go ahead.
They're a little great.
All right. So, just gonna start with explaining the scope of the project. It's a pretty big, countywide project. So there are two main scope items for the project. One is we're looking at planning and design for a blueway system on the Great Miami and Whitewater River. So a blueway system is similar to a land trail, except for you're using waterways to create connectivity between places. The other major aspect of the project is we're looking at planning for a shared use trail system that will run north to south in Hamilton County, starting up in Fairfield near the Butler County line, running south to the Shawnee Lookout area. So next slide. In 2019, Great Parks completed our comprehensive master plan. 2020, we did park and facility master plans, where we looked at a little bit more detail. So this was there was a lot of public outreach as part of our master planning, and we came out of that with 8 priorities that the county, the communities in the county gave for us for the next 10 years. The two that are most closely aligned with this project are building more trails. That's trails of all kinds. So water trails, hiking trails, paved trails for cycling, running, etc. The other one was establish a defined blueway system. Again, that's a type of trail system. The other 6 master plan priorities that came out of that there are components of the project that are related to those, but they're not as closely related. So we're looking to add more programming and events. Obviously, if we have more access to rivers and a more lengthy trail system, we'll have more opportunities for new programming. Building ecological resiliency and sustainability. With having a paved trail system, we're looking at providing alternative modes of transportation with cycling, walking, etc. Provide access to conservation areas. So the Great Miami and Whitewater River corridors, we want to make those more accessible to the public for all types of uses, fishing, paddling, just enjoyment of nature, expand access for all users. So another goal for Great Parks is to provide access for people of all abilities, all ages. So we're always thinking about providing a range of different types of access. Focus on partnerships. So I'm here today to talk to you guys about this project because we need partners with the community throughout Hamilton County to help this project become a reality. And planning for the future of every park. The project takes place on the west side of the county, so we've got 4 large parks that are open to the public that are part of our system out on the west side. So we've got Miami Whitewater Forest, we've got Mitchell Memorial Forest, Shawnee Lookout, and on the Whitewater River, Campbell Lakes. Next slide, please. So community engagement is a really big part of this project. We have held a public and virtual open house where we took feedback from the community on kind of the initial idea of the project to help guide it. We have an advisory committee that we've established that's made up of leaders from all the communities on this side of the community. Part of the reason that I'm here today and doing a circuit meeting with all the boards of trustees and councils on the west side of the county. From the public and from the advisory committee, we're looking to identify opportunities for the project, challenges that we might encounter, safety and otherwise. The advisory committee in specific, we're looking for those folks to help kind of guide the project and let us know what the best way of reaching out to community members is. We're looking to build support and excitement for this project. Next slide, please. So the study area, again, we're looking at the Great Miami and the Whitewater River corridors. These are all the townships that we need to engage with as part of this process. You can see the Miami Township borders on the southeast side of the Great Miami River. You guys have a lot of frontage on that waterway, so you stand to really benefit from this project potentially. The Blue Way Trail system, we're looking at adding 4 to 5 new or improved river access points on the Great Miami and the Whitewater Rivers. We're also looking at including the existing river access points in that Blue Way system. We already know there's a couple of good parks with access out there. You guys have one of them. Miami Township West Community Park has a good river access already. There are a couple of them. Coleraine Township, Dravo, and Heritage, yes. So those are all part of this Blue Way system. Now, the shared use trail that I mentioned to you would be running in Great Miami River corridor only, and there are almost 30 miles of the Great Miami River running through Hamilton County. Next slide, please. So I'm going to speak a little bit more about the Blue Way here and explain that part of the project. Next slide. So we're evaluating sites all across the county for improved and new access. The orange dots represent the existing river access points. I already mentioned a couple of them up in Coleraine. Heritage Park is the first north. The next orange dot down is Dravo. And then, so the solid orange dots are public access. 12A, just north of Cleves, is your Community West Park. And then the orange dot near the south end of the Great Miami River, just before you get to the Ohio River, it is in Shawnee Lookout. On the Whitewater River, there's Campbell Lakes, the furthest north, and then the 2 orange dots further south are Whitewater Township public access points. So when we started the project, we were evaluating over 20 different river access points, all for consideration in terms of like what's going to provide the best access. We were thinking about distance between the points. So if you're paddling, if any of you guys are canoers or kayakers, a good like 3-hour paddle is approximately 5 miles. So we're looking at having 3 to 5 miles between river access points, ideally, because that's like a good half-day trip for a family or a group of individuals to take. So at this point, we've narrowed down to about 8 different river access points that we're considering, and we're now talking to some private property owners, having discussion with them to help us narrow down to the final 4 or 5 that will move forward with construction documents for. Next slide, please. So again, we're looking for a range of not only access, but types of experiences that we want to provide to the community here. So In terms of Blueway access, we're looking from the far right side. If it's a developed site, where there's a lot of infrastructure and easy access to parking, things of that nature, we're looking at a more constructed facility. So, a big push for Great Parks is to provide ADA access wherever possible. That's very challenging in a moving water situation on a river. So if we are to provide ADA access, and we really do want to do that, it's likely going to be in a space like Campbell Lakes, where we have some flat water in a lake or a pond that's adjacent to or connected to one of the river systems. Next step down from the most constructed type experience, and that would be the easiest access, and again, probably in the most built type environment, would be enhanced, where we're looking to just make the access a little bit easier in a natural environment, minimal disturbance and construction improvements, but again, kind of a slightly easier access to the river. And then on the far left would be a more natural experience for those who are looking to really kind of get deep out into nature and have the physical ability to do that. So again, that's kind of like the opposite end of the spectrum of access and experience in terms of blueways. Next slide, please.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Jump in.
With regards to, our West Park access sites as well as Shawnee.
Yep.
Those are the two main ones with the orange dots on that other map. What type of access are you looking at potentially, given those two sites? What type of access would be
Okay, so
most ideal?
So in an existing and managed public facility like your park, where the facilities are already pretty good, we might not be looking to do any improvements there, or if we were, we obviously would be communicating and coordinating with you. Shawnee Lookout is a pretty tough site. It floods quite a bit. Most of these environments do. And there's a lot of wetlands down there as well. And if you've been down there, you know the parking is pretty far from the actual access, right? So we're kind of weighing out the options that we might be able to do there. We're thinking about ways that we might be able to get vehicle access a little bit closer to water. But the type of access, again, we're looking for range. So once we get down to the 4 or 5 sites, they're going to kind of inform our decisions based on which sites we have available to us and what their existing amenities are and infrastructure, and then the constraints of the site. So again, natural, there's going to be challenges in building around wetlands. If there's a sensitive natural environment, it's probably going to lean more towards that natural side. If it were somewhere like Miami Whitewater Forest, say over at the dog park or somewhere over there, it would be easier to get a more built and constructed access where you might have a full paved concrete walk that would get you all the way down the river that might meet ADA requirements to get.
So if I hear you correctly, that's more like what we would require at those two parks,
So
given the distance from the parking.
right, so even with distance from parking, if there are significant challenges in the it would potentially be very challenging to get it permitted or cost prohibitive. No, you might have to have a more rustic environment in that case, if you're got mobility issues or things of that nature, you have to use that site. So again, there's going to be a range of access across the system. We can't guarantee at this point what's going to be where. That's all part of the design process.
Thank you for that.
Yep. So the shared use trail system, next slide. So one of the good things that's already set up for us is north of us in Butler and Montgomery counties, there's already an existing trail system called the Great Miami Riverway that has over 99 miles of water trails and paved trails. There are gaps in that system. The dots that are on the map here show all the amenities that are associated with that trail system. They might be access points, they might be rentals, they might be parks, they might be eateries. But you can see a lot of things have developed around that trail system. There's economic benefits to these things as well as recreation opportunities. So with the existing success of the Great Miami Riverway, we're looking to kind of like tap onto that and extend through Hamilton County. If you look at the orange circle on the bottom, that's our portion of the system. There's very little that exists as part of the Blueway system. There is no shared use trail system on the west side of the county right now. So we're looking to plan and hopefully eventually establish that. Again, we're going to be looking at connecting to the Great Miami Riverway trail system at Fairfield. Fairfield's trails currently stop, I think a couple miles short of getting to the county line, but they currently have plans and have required funding to extend that. So connecting to that existing system right at the county line will be doable. And then eventually, as we gain funding for the project, we want to extend that all the way through to Shawnee Lookout. Certain parts of that system may be built at different times. We haven't figured out the phasing or the funding yet. That's all going to be part of the planning process. Next slide, please. So we're taking an asset-based approach to how we're planning the alignment for the system through public engagement, through our public open house, and through working with our advisory committee. We've identified this really nice list of assets that already exist on the west side of the county. They're broken down into different categories: sporting, parks. Other consists of like cultural and heritage-based activities and access and recreation points, and then existing trail systems, right? So we did the best we could to kind of prioritize that list of assets because we know we're not going to be able to connect to all of them. Again, the shared use trail system we're looking to keep in the Great Miami River corridor as close in proximity to that as possible. So you can see that some of those assets kind of spread out across the county. If we have to build an entirely new connector trail to get to something that's far away from the main spine of the system, which will be running north to south in the river corridor, and it's less likely it will connect to that. So you'll see the blue items are identified as high. All of our parks, we obviously want to connect to those. There's other recreation opportunities that folks can connect to. For example, Miami Whitewater Forest has the Shaker Trace Trail. That's an 8-mile trail loop that already exists. It would be a shame if there wasn't a connection to that. Things like your school district, right on the Great Miami River. There's no reason why we shouldn't be connecting to that. And then you'll see there's other items that we would like to connect to, but might have more challenges to connect to them. They're highlighted in yellow, lower priorities in pink. So again, we're going to do the best we can to connect to all these, and we're meeting with this advisory committee. We've met with them twice. We have 2 more meetings coming up, and we're taking feedback from those folks, and then we're going out to the public and engaging them and providing them with opportunities for feedback as well. Next slide, please. So the shared use trail system we're thinking of as, we're calling it a braided network. So if you think of it in that way, there's kind of different parts to it. So again, there'll be like the main spine, the north-south connection from Fairfield down to Shawnee Lookout. And by the way, there's also plans for Ohio River Trail West to come out from downtown Cincinnati to Shawnee Lookout at some point. So with the planning for this trail system, there would eventually be a connection to Shawnee Lookout and then back over to Cincinnati. Dearborn County in Indiana also has plans for a trail system. They've already started. So hopefully there'll also be a connection out west as well. So you'll have the main spine of this trail system, and you'll have connections to other assets or trail systems off of that. So this slide just kind of gives you a visual of what this might look like if you were to take a bird's eye view of an access point on the river somewhere in this corridor. And there's different facility types that I just want to briefly explain to you guys. So shared use trail is, again, that paved trail system that you can cycle on it, you can run on it, you can rollerblade on it. And it's completely separated from the roadway. So if you look at that windy trail that's along the river, that would be considered a shared use trail. A side path is similar to that, but runs parallel to the roadway. So as opposed to being completely separated, if you look at it underneath the bridge, that might be considered more of a side path where the trail is closer in proximity to the vehicular circulation. Not quite as comfortable of an experience, but there will be points on this trail system where we'll be separated by a bridge or topography or other constraints where we'll have to do that. The water trail again is the blueway system that I've explained. A cycle track would be another type of paved trail system that would be attached to the roadway itself. And we're hoping to not have to do that. But again, there might be constraints or situations where we're going through a more urbanized area or a downtown area, say Miami Town or something like that in Baltimore. If we run through there, it might have to be on the roadway. So that would be considered a cycle track. A boardwalk is another option if we're really constrained by topography or river. That would just be kind of a lifted system. Bridges, if we're moving from the east side of Great Miami River to the west side, we're gonna have to make use of bridges. Wherever possible, we would use an existing bridge to make that connection. But if there's demand for it and from the community to make connectivity to say a place like New Baltimore, where there isn't already a bridge, maybe this project dictates that there needs to be a new bridge to make that connection with pedestrian bridge. Next slide, please. So next steps, I'll just break this down real quickly for you. Next slide. The overall project timeline. So we are in the third quarter of 2023. This project started back in January, February of this year. We had our public open house in July. We've been engaging the public all along and continue to do that until the first quarter of 2024. The shared use master plan and the Blueway master plan, again, the two main components of the project are running concurrently side by side. We want them to inform each other. We want to have the shared use trail connect to the river access points, make opportunities for different types of recreation, opportunities to be all part of potentially the same trip. And then with the 4 to 5 river access points that we eventually will narrow down to, we want to take those through to the point where we have construction documents and are able to build those. We'd like to get the first design done by the end of 2024 and have construction on the first river access point in 2025. Our intent is to hopefully build one more of those every year after that until we've constructed all 4 or 5. The shared use trail is just a feasibility study at this point. So we're setting ourselves up to be able to get funding, federal, state, local grants, sponsors, donors. We're going to be looking at all those different opportunities to fund this project. It's a big part of why I'm here today. So next slide. I think there's just one more slide. Public engagement, again, that's ongoing. Our website for the project is already up. If you're interested in learning more about the project at your leisure, greatparks.org/West Trails. We have focus group meetings coming up. That's our next big push for public engagement, where we're going to get all the stakeholder groups, the recreation groups, the local businesses, commercial districts. We're going to bring those together in focus groups and get specific information that they're going to be questions answered that they're specifically interested in. And then we'll have pop-up events where we'll be sharing more information about the project as well. I don't know if you guys have any time for comments or questions, but that's all I got. And thank you guys very much for listening to what I have to say.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, we're going to be further.
Hey, that's done bad.
I did, but then
I do.
I'll let you.
There's a training session going on.
Like, what you do? I just flipped one. What you do? This is what you do. I said,
So they were.
I work, sometimes we have to go over there.
Mike did.
It looks like a maintenance guy's issue to me.
Also, clap your hand.
Okay. Carrie.
How are you guys tonight? Doing really well. We'll keep it very short. You know, it's a long meeting and you have a lot on your agenda. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Carrie Bernard. I am the manager of the Miami Township Library in Cleves, right adjacent to the fabulous senior center with Karen. And I came with just a few updates for 2023 and just to let you know about a few things going on at the library and in the library. But first, I just wanted to say thank you very much to Ron Miller and his maintenance team. I really wanted to give them a commendation. The library has had a few little issues with their landscaping pieces being pulled out and we're right on the sidewalk. And some plumbing issues and everything else. And every single staff person that I encounter is lovely, so super friendly. They're always in a good mood. So, and just really great to work with. Ron, sometimes is a fee. Yeah.
How much you pay?
And I also wanted to really thank Karen. I love her collaborative spirit, and I can say the same thing about her staff as well. They've always been great to work with. She allowed us to have 60 ninth grade students at the library at one time. And it was under maximum. But we would not have been able to accommodate all of them without her letting us use the courtyard area and everything else. So it was very lively and spirited, and it was a good time to come by home. So I really wanted to call them out. I know that you know they're fantastic, but I'd like to say that as well. 2023 has been a busy year for our branch. We circulated just over 41,000 items. We've had over 22,000 visits to the branch. And we've had just under 200 events planned, and we've had just under 4,000 people come to those events. So we've been busy. We have a huge, strong after-school crowd that keeps them all occupied when they get out of school. We have after-school snacks. We have events planned for them, and it kind of just gives them a nice place to hang until they get picked up for their ride. So that has been a lot of fun. And I don't know if you know, but the library has free printing. You can scan, you can fax, you do 20 pages for free every single day at the library. So if you're not using that, please do it. Our particular branch has a lamination service. It's 50 cents a page. Which is much cheaper than Staples, and it's very convenient. We do have an event coming up next week. It's with New Leaf Kitchen. They do natural products and such, and it's for new moms. It's making baby care products, so diaper rash. I don't know if anybody needs diaper rash or belly creams. But if you know of a new mom who would be interested, our programs are always free, and we still have some spots for that. We're also in the planning stages for Christmas in the Village. The senior center does that as well. It's always the first Saturday in December. We're gonna have someone doing face painting, not me. We're doing seasonal themed temporary tattoos and our traditional button making and everything else. And I also, you may already be aware, but the library does have a renewal levy on the ballot for November. It is a renewal levy of the 2013 levy that is due to expire this year. And it has a slight increase. The old one was nil, and this one is going to be 1.5. So doing the math, I was an English teacher. It's going to work out to be about $43 a year per $100,000 citation up here. So I just wanted to let everybody know about it. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Hear anything more about the library moving?
I am like attuned. I am just as knowledgeable as you are. Those decisions all happen above my head. I do stay attuned to the page. The library has a website and they have a facilities master plan. They do put updates, which I check often, and they did have an October update.
They are still looking at that property, and they have several different, agencies that are looking into the viability of the space. It's in a floodplain, so. Any other questions? Thank you very much for allowing me to bring amendments to travel on. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else to the public? Back to the public.
Got a couple of questions.
Yes, sir. And your name, sir?
Nick Berger, Dragon Lane Drive,
Where you been?
on vacation.
Okay.
About the park. I noticed you got the new pickleball court put in. I think it's, the sticking point for me is the split rail fence around. There's sections of that fence that have broken down for over 2 years, maybe close to 3. Now, is there anything in the near future where you're gonna spend a few bucks to buy some posts and rails, to fix that fence? Well, look at me, Jack, because it's, on the side where the school is, section of the fence missing.
The side where the school is, we're thinking about taking out, we're gonna only try to replace the front, we're trying to decide what, because they're all rotting and breaking on.
Okay.
So what we have to replace it with, instead of wood, where we have to turn around and replace it with 5 or 7 years. And so Ronnie and I have talked about it, we haven't did anything on it. But the one on the side by the school, that separates the school and the park, we're gonna take out. We're hoping to start construction on the amphitheater in there. Where to the left of the concession stand and that grassy field right there. And then that parking lot's gonna come over that line there, we hope that's what's gonna happen. So all that fence is gonna come out of it.
One other little question. As you go from the parking lot to the driveway to the river. That drive goes for river access, where the walking path crosses there. Left-hand side, there's a steel plate sticking up out of the path. Where there used to be a post, that lock in there to block traffic.
I don't
Is that
know.
going down to the ramp you're talking about?
No, before you get to the ramp, where the walking
Okay,
path
yeah.
crosses.
Yeah.
Left-hand side, right in the middle of the path. There's a metal bar sticking out. It's a trip hazard.
There used to be 2 poles there, somebody stole the poles.
Can you get somebody to torch off that piece of metal? Cut it off.
We gotta look into what we wanna put poles back in. So traffic, what the poles were for to keep the traffic from going up the walking trail.
I understand why it's there. And it's purpose.
Yeah, I understand what
It's good,
Either put the poles back or get the metal out of the way.
because the metal's a trip hazard.
No, we'll do one or the other. We will. And I honestly didn't know about it. I knew about it, but
Or get a sledgehammer, drive in the ground, I don't care. Just,
we'll do one, we'll do one,
We can cut them all.
we'll do one or the other.
okay. Nothing about snow removal. Not yet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just wondering, you know, the Whispering Farm slide, can you give me any kind of a project timeline or process?
I can't off the top of my head, Matt, but you know, I thought I forwarded you the email, the
Yeah.
last email that I got from them.
115 feet, yeah.
So I'm waiting on them because they're progressing along. And we were out there, Ronnie and I met them up there and they did that digital, that was in September, beginning of September, when it ran.
Yeah.
They did that digital, some kind of survey. We were out there for over an hour with them. So, and I sent you the email, I try to keep you updated as much.
I
as
appreciate
they
that. I just
need.
don't understand the process.
I will, I believe I have a timeline in the files.
Okay.
I'll look for it and send it to you.
That would be great.
But I know, like, here, I know that.
Is the funding already there? Or do you have to secure the funding?
No, it's there.
Okay, good. That's great. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Mike Reynolds. What about the amphitheater? Do you got any calls back on, what that's gonna cost to do?
Not yet. That's our next step. Is the cost analysis on
Yeah, they was here a while back,
it.
a month or two,
They were
gonna work up a bid.
Yeah.
so it's
Still,
still,
we're gonna do a cost analysis on it. That's one of the next steps we're trying to do. We're trying to negotiate, not negotiate, we're asking the school The school is considering the us put an easement there.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll come over on their property, north property. So the very next step is the cost analysis.
Okay.
So we have to look at. And then one of how much it's gonna be.
Yeah, so we,
Give or take.
is it probable that you're gonna do it, or it depends on how much they come in, the bid comes in?
But I think it's both. I'm not sure. It's not really the bid, it's just the cost analysis. It's gonna be, I'm thinking close to $1 million.
Hours or, and,
Yeah, the Jordan Road, the water line we were putting in there, just not to keep going back and forth on this. Yes, I need to come to a please meeting with you guys, a council meeting, because I'm telling you both that I've met with them multiple times and they are telling us that they won't allow us to put that water line in. And we're gonna pay for that. So they want another $500,000 of storage, not storage, they're trying to extort us out of the $500,000 to straighten out their mess up they did so many years ago, 20 or 30 years ago, I don't know what it was. But if they're telling you that we haven't first, we haven't met with
yeah,
them, and that's.
that's the separate subject, I wanna know about the theater. Are you saying if we do the water, we will get the theater?
No.
Yeah, okay,
We're trying to do both.
right,
We're trying to do both. What we want to do.
okay.
We made a commitment 4 or 5 years ago on the water.
Okay,
And then,
yeah, I just want to see it.
so, okay.
You first seen the boring down there. Yeah, it's gotta be doing some soil boring, very shortly.
Yeah.
Over pay for that. You okay?
Okay, good enough.
Take care. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Barry Moore is my name. How close are we to hiring our administrator?
We're probably going to executive session.
Yeah, I was expecting to go into executive session and we halted strategic HR halted the, I guess, evaluating candidates. So I think that ended up around that 280. The board and the initial round of interviews and then the second round of interviews, and we're going to go into executive session to discuss that matter and hopefully, we're
Hopefully move forward.
moving forward with that item.
So are we down to 5 candidates? 10 candidates?
The last interview was paid, it got down to 2, I think, pretty much.
What did we interviewed 5 or 6, but I will say that the board is very close on making that decision. We'll see where we go next time, but I feel like there was a lot of
We made a lot of headway.
Yes.
I thought we were down to 3.
yes.
All 3 of us, we usually unanimous on the 3, now we just gotta narrow it down and we can make it home.
So it sounds to me like by the end of the year, possibly, we could have a higher.
I would hope so.
And then from there, you're moving forward with his input on the fire chief, correct?
Yeah, the fire chief part got, it might be good to wait for the administrator to get on board. Depending on who it is, if they can contribute to it. They can, it doesn't wait. It depends if the individual has any experience in the selection process. If they don't, there's no sense fitting on the fire chief to go ahead and do that.
So the fire chief is out posted.
It's not posted, it's just we generated what we expect out of the position, hours operation and stuff like that. This is just what you need to have to bid the job and stuff.
But will it be posted like in an Enquirer or through a website or something?
Well, it might be posted through the same process that might be used on the administrator and the other positions.
What were we using on fire?
Well, they wanted 9,500.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted 9,000.
It's
two different companies.
Two different companies.
Came in between $5,000 and $10,000, and that was just an estimate. So I was like, what percent?
Depending on how many days they had to spend on it. Or we have, Mike says it's coming under contract, and I use them again. Strategic HR.
Okay, thank you.
And for me, I want to move forward as soon as possible, to start that process, because again, you're going to be accepting applications and all that, so I'd love to get that ball rolling. Yeah, yesterday.
Anybody else in the public? Anything else? Okay, the board, Mr. Blanton.
I've got one quick, our levy, it's our garbage levy, pretty much our waste levy, it's coming up in November 7th. We have a renewal on, 2.25 mils and an increase of 0.5 mil for each dollar of taxable value to constitute the tax to benefit Miami Township. For the purpose of providing waste collection and disposal, the county auditor estimates it would be $776,000 annually. And this is at the rate of $79 for each $100,000 of the county auditor's appraised value. So if we have a renewal on and we only had one bid on that, I just want everybody to understand this, that we only had one bid, one bid for monthly. So with our renewal and our increase, that's to pay that one bid is all that is. It's not an increase for the township or anything. It's for to pay that bill for Rumpke for garbage collection. So everyone's aware of that. That's all it's for nothing else. So I just wanted to reaffirm that with the public, so everybody knew exactly what nothing else. Anybody got comments on the board?
Okay. Basically, the money comes in, the money goes back out. It's
All the money that comes.
right,
All of them.
eventually, yeah.
Just
Right now, we
talking
pay about 54,000 a month for garbage, and then we got their increase, and it was pretty, it was a big increase.
Right, and again, Rumpke was the only one that did our waste collection. So that's why we had to put that increase in there of with 0.5 mil, what it was. That's all I have.
Mike?
Last night I attended the welcome home ceremony for our Honor Flight Tri-State. I know that Jack participated in that a year or two years ago, and it's probably the fourth or fifth time that I've attended that. It's just a really neat event. I also attended the Jewish Federation of Cincinnati's community gathering ceremony, where they were condemning the attacks from Hamas against Israel. There were 1,700 people that came up to that, and really, it was amazing show of support. As was discussed, we're going to continue to move forward and hopefully make a decision on the administrator here soon. I would like to say that I brought up this meeting in our working session, but I think you were the only one that attended. But again, the roundabout we did submit the reapplication of the grant, and we're hoping to hear in December on that project from the OPWC and what will be awarded or not from them.
We're committed for 700,000.
We made an initial commitment, as did Hamilton County, for 700,000 each towards that project. It's estimated to be between 4 and 4.5 mil. So if the township and the county are in for 1.4, then we're looking at somewhere in the 2.75 to 3 mil from the OPWC. So again, there's no guarantee. They can either grant it for the entire amount. They can not grant it, or they can grant it, but give us some number in between that. So say they won't give 3 million, but they'll give 2.5 or 2 point, whatever, and then we're gonna have to make decisions at that point in December or January, whether we close the gap, but, I will say that I continue to have multiple discussions with business owners, with residents who live along there right across, that walk or try to actually use, some of them are handicapped and try to use their motorized, wheelchairs to get right along that little strip to get to Sullivan's, get to, whatever UDF. And so this is something that we look, it's not just the roundabout, but we're looking at sidewalks, we're looking at kind of just improving the safety, not only on the roadways, but pedestrians walking on that. So I think that it's a good thing, but we have to wait and see what the numbers come back to, from the PWC of the state. So, but I, communicated with a lot of folks on that. This is just something fun that we kicked off the last fall. I think we did this the last 2 years, but the pumpkin chuck at Kiwanis, and if you want to come out and see a fun time and bring your kids, grandkids on November the 4th, so the Saturday after Halloween, you have all the leftover jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins and whatnot. So we Kiwanis partnered with Three Rivers School, and they built essentially a gigantic slingshot, catapult, and the kids love it. Dennis George provides coffee and donuts, and you come and the kids get to load their pumpkin up, and you pull that lever, and boy, those things fly 150 feet, yard. I mean, it's neat. So
Anybody who has any pumpkins they want to get rid of after Halloween,
right,
let us know.
yeah,
Take them to his house.
Well, don't make the money.
it's great.
We don't know where you
I
live.
don't even know where you live.
We can't
They don't know the address.
Right.
Right there on Bruce now, you can talk
I
about.
bet you I bet you don't know where you live.
7922 Bruce.
That's what I wanted to say.
We did get some encouraging, an update on the TIF, and I know there's been a lot of discussions on that being extended, and so we heard that things are progressing, and we're hoping for this state auditor, that we're hoping to get a final answer. They estimated between 75 and 100 days from now, so that will be a nice relief to get that crossed off and get final, final word on that, but that'd be good. And finally, we're trying something new, and appreciate Ms. Day starting this up, but we're going to try to do a staff cookie treat exchange on November the 30th. So any of our staff, department heads that want to participate, or your staff want to participate, please get in touch with Kim Day. Try to build some around boost around the holidays, but I think that's all I have right now, other than the items for executive session.
No sense. Okay, we pass a resolution to accept the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission, and authorizing the necessary tax levies, certifying the county auditor, just merely certifying our existing levies, right, Cindy? So this isn't something.
Well, it is certifying the garbage
New-
levy if it goes through.
Garbage levy goes through, plus the existing levies.
Right.
So it's just nothing too scary. Just the only thing new would be the renewed waste levy. So I make a motion that the resolution 2023-11 accepting the rates determined by the auditor be accepted.
I'll second
Mr. Bland,
it. Yes.
Mr. Reiniger,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
And we have another resolution 2023-10. And Jimmy talked about the mitigation and hazard mitigation plan that we have with the county. And what this plan really does is if we have a natural disaster, storms, tornadoes, in order for us to qualify to apply for federal funding for any type of repairs that have to be done to the township, we have to be part of this program. So we've been part of it in the past, and all we're trying to do now is to accept the plan that's been drawn up by Hamilton County and be a part of their program. I'll make a motion to accept the 2023-10 resolution for the mitigation.
Second?
All right, Mr. Blanton,
Yes.
Mr. Reiniger,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Okay, promotions, we're gonna do promotions tonight for the captains and for we have a new hire, full-time new hire. They haven't got their hats in yet, their badges, and they wanted to know if we could hold off until a meeting in November, so we're gonna do that. The police contract under the bone of contention, we got a letter from them, from the county, wanting us to go ahead and accept what they proposed. We rejected what they proposed at this time. I mean, it's time we send a letter to commissioners or approve the board to do that because we're going nowhere. And our levy expires next year. We have to go back to the new levy. We have no idea what that new levy would be based on their numbers. That levy would double. Based on what they want the far west to pay and the municipalities in the area, I don't think serve our residents be paying. It's just a simple explanation. They explained to me why our bill is going to go from 564 to 685, and Cleve and North Bend is going to go down. I would never support it, and I would never vote for it. I think it's time we send a letter to someone, we'll continue to pay for one car until our levy runs out, and they can negotiate with the far west, which is paying nothing. They can get together with Cleveland and North Bend, and once they get everybody on board, and come back with to a contract for the entire district. But I don't think we ought to just go ahead and sign off on this 4-year contract. It's going to take us from $564,000 to $971,000 in just a very short period of time. I'm asking the board to have Cindy send the commissioners a letter.
Yeah.
Saying, right? You want to vote, Cindy?
Can I just shortly
Go ahead. Go ahead.
One, I appreciate your comments, Jack, and I do respect them, and I understand what you're saying, and there is a lot of confusion surrounding this issue. What I heard from Jeff Aludo, the county administrator, is that essentially they're not going to go along with business as usual and allow us to remain with one car, which is what we've had for a number of years. And, you know, the fact that we're 2.5 years from when this contract expired, and to send them a letter saying we want to do what we've done, not only during that 2.5 years, but before that, I think is a non-starter for them. I think that that's just not going to get any traction, and frankly, they deliver the message that if that's the case, it's, you know, start your own police department. And if it's start your own police department, that number is just going to go up astronomically from. So I'm not supportive of exactly what they propose, and I don't think that we should sign off and just agree to it. I agree with you, Jack, on that. I don't think that we should just say yes and just go along. But I also am not supportive of sending a letter and saying we're just going to do what we've always done. I think it's at some point we need to figure out what the village of Addison is going to do, and see whether they're going to get part of this this contract or not, to figure out whether we're going to have adequate coverage throughout all of Miami Township, including the 3 villages. And that, you know, we need to, figure out whether that's 2, 2.5, 3 cars for that, and then come to some agreement. But I think the answer is somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's just signed with what they said, but I don't think it's acceptable to just say we're just doing 1 car. I think public safety needs to be a priority. I personally think we need more than 1 car in Miami Township. I think, you know, I would support more patrols than that, but what's the magic number and what's the number that we should be paying that is fair to our residents, like you said, you know, that's where we need to get serious and start crunching some numbers. So.
Well, I agree with that, Mike, except it's big, like you said, they've gone on 2.5 years, they've met with us twice, 2 times. And, both times they were gonna talk to the Far West, both times they were gonna talk to Addison, and nothing, we're still sitting here. They're not even gonna start talking, you got the letter, same letter, like, they're not even gonna start talking to the Far West until after October. And, why? I mean, Far West has never paid, so why would you not start talking to them? We'll go ahead and pay, or we can do, how are you gonna pay this after next year when levies has to go back on? How much you gonna put on?
Well, I'm not suggesting that this go on another year. I'm suggesting that we need to get serious and they need to get serious. So I do think that we need to come to the table with some real options. They need to hold everyone's feet to the fire as far as Addison and others, and tell everybody.
And
really,
and we did have a Parship car one time, and the thing got out of that. So, there was a car and a half out here.
About the power. We share that with North Bank, correct? That car is gone. Did they drop our bill that amount of money?
Yeah. North Bend got out of contract before it ended. Left us kind of holding.
North Bend hasn't taken up for almost 3 years.
Right.
I'll say it if either one of you don't want to say it, but Doug Sammons responded to that email and said, he's the mayor of North Bend, and said they are not going to pay any more than their levy brings in. And I think it was like 87,000 or some crazy like that for 24 hours, 7-day-a-week service. And then the village of Cleves is only paying, I think, was
133 twice, it's 266,000.
Yeah, and that's ludicrous to what we're paying.
We bring in.
And we're paying over
$160,000.
$500 million. And then we're gonna turn us down? I think that's crazy. We're gonna turn us down, and the villages aren't even paying hardly anything. We can do just exactly what Whitewater Township does, and do cost of service.
Well, I disagree with that because
I think where it needs to start.
they're going to get there.
And I said this last meeting. We should be on the hook for 1 car in North Bend and Cleves. You should be on the hook for a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week car that's 24/7 that could run North Bend, Cleves, and Miami Township. That seems to me the most logical and easiest thing to do.
Now,
That's what I would suggest.
that's not a new proposal.
You can't count on Addison. Addison is hiring 4 part-time. It's on their electronic board when you drive by it. They're not actively seeking a contract with the sheriff's office. So we need to take them out of the equation. And please, North Bend sit down and try to see who's gonna pay what. That's what we got to do. And Doug Seaman said in the email, and I've only read it, that they're only gonna pay 87,000 or 97,000. They're not gonna pay anything. They haven't paid a dime in 3 years.
So I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree that the accuracy of what your description is from North Bend and the use and everything else. We can't dictate to North Bend what to do. They're their own entity, their own village. We can't dictate to Cleveland what to do. They're their own village, they're their own entity. We can't dictate to Addison what to do. Only the county can dictate what to do and say, we're not going to cover your shifts, Addison. We're not going to cover approximately 50% of your shifts anymore. You either have to cover all of your shifts 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and hire enough and retain enough officers to have a full-time department that you have all the time, in which case, then we would have 2 sheriff's deputies 24/7, and we'd have a full-time law enforcement officer in Addison 24/7, which would give you the 3 total law enforcement officers in Miami Township and villages, which is what they were talking about. They're not filling their shifts, and that's why I'm saying, you're saying, forget about Addison. I'm saying the county needs to come to Addison and say, listen, enough is enough. We're not filling all your shifts. Either join this or fill all of your shifts one way or the other. That brings them to the table. And then now we can look at it. It's better, in my opinion, to have 2.5 or 3 sheriff's deputies that have the same training, same level of training. They're going to communicate better. They're going to work better. It's going to be better officer safety. It's going to be better safety as a whole because they're going to coordinate where they are. And I just think that, but I can't tell Addison what to do and whether they should. And what do I want to do that? Correct. I know. But what I'm saying,
Apparently they can tell what to do. We're gonna pay $70,000.
How are we gonna go to our voters and ask for an increase, which we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have
Well,
to do.
if we have to create our own police department, we're going to have to ask for.
Why do you keep saying that? You're not gonna have to.
The county just
That's what
said,
Whitewater does. You don't seem to have any trouble.
the county just said they're not, they're not going to be okay with just one car as is. And so if we don't look to come to the table and negotiate with them, I think well, I don't think they said, then create your own police department. That's what they told us. They said that. That's what they said to us in the meeting. They said, this is not a.
He said in the meeting, his last meeting, he said, if you don't want to go with this proposal, with this exact same proposal they gave us 2 years ago, ain't nothing changed on it. But he said, if you don't want to go with this, you have to start telling when you want to start backing out. When you want to start backing out, he didn't tell us to start that. But why aren't they? We're paying $47,000, $48,000 a month. Whitewater sitting over there. The number 2 man in the sheriff's department lives in Whitewater, and they don't pay a dime. And they've been like that forever. And I think they want to pressure us. Why do they want to pressure us when we paid for 50 years with the contract and somebody's not paid except 1 4-year period with the contract? They don't force them to say, hey, you guys have to start paying, or that's going to be it.
I think we need to negotiate it, definitely.
That's what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting not to send a letter and say, we're just staying as we have always been and for years and years and years. But I'm also not saying, let's just sign what they pushed across the table. We need to negotiate. You guys are saying, let's just send a letter and say, we're doing what we always done.
They've been here twice, Mike, come on. They've been here twice since this contract expired. Twice, 2 meetings. They don't want to negotiate. Did they just say they told you, if you don't take that, you go ahead and start looking for your own police department? That's not a negotiation.
Well, they said, here's a proposal, and we haven't responded with. If you want, I will come up with my proposal, which again, I sort of alluded to the other day for a meeting or 2 ago, of that somewhere in between, but I don't think we want calls for service like Whitewater, Crosby, and Harrison Townships, to where we're going to have less security, less public safety here in Miami Township. I don't think that our residents are going to be okay with that. And I think that we need to prioritize. So I want patrols. I don't want just calls for service. I don't want them to say that maybe it's 15 minutes, maybe it's 20, maybe it's 25. I don't know. We'll get there when we get there. I don't want to tell our residents that.
Well, based on what you heard tonight, Mr. Beck and other residents in the township, You probably got a call for service anyhow. Where are they patrolling at? Right. Do they have a GPS on their vehicles? We pay for those cars. We have a GPS to know where those cars are at. We pay for free. I agree.
I'm not in favor
But
of
the thing
saying
is, there's a point you have to stop. When you're at this point and someone else is at zero, and you go after the person who's at zero before you worry about the person paying you $500,000 a year.
How are you gonna do it if you go with their proposal? What if the levy don't pass?
We gotta be able to fund.
That's right.
That's what I mean, how
Exactly
you
right.
fund that? How do
That's
you
right.
vote for money you don't have? You know, I'm just asking, how do you?
And every time we've met, we've told them our contract is up, our levy is up next year. We're gonna have to go back if we don't get something settled. This is not gonna settle, it's just telling them, same thing we got before. They've not negotiated one dime, not one penny, except an increase because I guess the officers got the raise. We paid step raise. Did the other entities pay a step raise? I bet you they didn't. We're paying it. But did Cleveland North Bend, are they paying a step raise?
Entities.
Are they being billed? They might be getting billed, or are they paying?
Well, I can tell you that the Western Townships, meaning this isn't Western Township, you're talking about Whitewater.
Whitewater,
Harrison,
Harrison,
negotiations with as well, and not being much money. I don't want to step in and start arguing, money with you, because I'll get something wrong and somebody will say I quoted something wrong, but I can tell you that they are meeting with Harrison for all the Whitewater. They are being pressured as well to begin paying. As you say, nobody gets a free ride, or that is the saying, that is what's going on now. Now, as you said, they, for years and years, forever. I started, it was time at least, they have never paid. So it's not the same. Started, yeah, so it's, but that is ending as well.
Well, then why can't they wait till they see what they're gonna pay out there, and we can go somewhere in between. Right away, you wanna say, take this, or leave it.
Well, as far as I, once again,
Did they
I'm
tell
not
them
the one
to take it or leave
negotiating
it?
with you. I know it's higher up than me, and it's the county, even higher up than me, obviously. Well, it was described to me and why it's an increase and why you're paying more than please. Addison's not on here yet. North Bend, they based it on, and once again, you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not saying I'm right about everything. Call volume, roadways, and amount of people, population, and amount of, territory you have. Why you're paying more than Cleveland would be paying in that contract.
So the county administrator, basically the accountants there, that came up with a formula, like the lieutenant said. And I think there were 3 or 4 different criteria that they used to come up with that formula. And so, Jack, I understand just by glancing at a piece of paper and you say, why did we go up and why are they coming down? I mean, it's the formula, and we could hire a consultant to get into debating the formula or whatever, but the formula is what it is. And so there's, I can't argue with somebody that they say, this is your square mileage, this is your call for service, this is your population, this is what you get, and this is where you fall in that.
If you put a levy on, say, for example, if there's a primary next June, you put a levy on, or on the ballot for coverage of what the sheriff is proposing, and you put it on in, say, June, whatever it might be, as far as an increase of what we're currently paying total to cover that bill. If that passes, fine. If it fails, what do you do? What is the alternative? The county, tell the county, if it fails, tell us what we're gonna do.
No, because we got no coverage there, we got no money.
Okay, but
No.
hey, you're doing what the county's telling you to do.
Right.
Put it to the people. And let the people turn it down or vote.
What do you think they're gonna do if the west side, if their levy, if they put a levy on, cover whatever the sheriff wants, that goes down?
We gotta cover Byron Township. The hell with the other one.
Well, we can't because they're trying to tie it all together.
But they are separate.
They what?
Separate.
These separate contracts.
Those are separate.
We know
They're
that.
separate, they want a district out here with 6 cars.
So this is my last comment. I was gonna make real quick. Well, what about this proposal from the board? And I'm not asking for an answer right now. I'm just saying, think about this. We pay what our levy brings in. They've already, North Bend already said they're gonna pay. Cleve's only paying $133,000 a year. So the difference in the two cars, let the county pick up the rest. That'll give us two cars, 24/7, which is included. So I said, we pay that to the county administrator. And get the county involved in some of the money that Cleveland North Bend won't pay. We're paying our share. I think $564,000 a year is our fair share. That covers one car. Now, or we can go the route Mr. Beck said and put it on next June and try to, how many ever mill this will increase, so it'll be a lot more than 0.5 we're trying to get for the garbage. It'll probably be $200 or $300 a month for a homeowner on $100,000.
You can go from 564, which is what's our million now, 2.25. Okay, from 564,000, you're gonna go to, by 2026, it would be 971,000. So that's gonna double your million.
You would have to put another, probably 3 mills on.
At least 3, and that's just to get you to 26, which is 2 years away. That's to get
Next
you.
year, we are, with what we already granted, we would, with one car, we have to increase the.
That's right, that's one car.
But you're right, let the residents decide, do they want
I
it?
think it's a good idea.
One of the questions is,
I do.
all the residents of Hamilton County have been reevaluated property wise. We still don't know what our increase in revenue is going to be. Now, for the sheriff contract, it has to be revoted on to get the increase. That increase just won't go on that.
Right. That's
correct. Right.
But the thing is, by January 1st, we should know what that dollar amount of increase would be, and we can control that to the amount of millage.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna make a decision tonight, but for me, what I was working on, what I alluded to the last time was that if we find out that the whole Addison question, two or three cars, do we need 2 or 2.5 or 3 cars?
I can tell you Addison is still.
But we have to bring.
Yes, correct. Yeah, so
We got some experiments they're doing with the guy on the cruise ship, one guy on sites, and all. It doesn't seem to be going well with me, but that's the first one.
sure. So my proposal was that essentially Miami Township, well, our contract, that we would get a 12-hour free car until Crosby, Whitewater, and Harrison Townships pay at least to a portion of what services they're providing. But whether that's 35%, 50%, whatever it is, with also a commitment that they're going to ramp up because they're talking about us ramping up and doing it in stages incrementally.
I can tell you that's already a proposal.
So if we're ramping up and they start paying at a certain level and start to ramp up, then we lose that 12-hour discount. So if we're getting 3 cars, we pay for 2.5. If that makes sense. If we're paying for 2.5, if we get 2.5, we're paying for 2. For Miami Township, Cleves, Addison, and North Bend. And that incentivizes the county to put the feet to the fire to the 3 far west townships. It also incentivizes the county, because again, we can't do it, incentivizes the county to go to Addison and say, okay, enough with, are you coming into the mix? And because we don't control anything that goes on with Whitewater, Crosby, Harrison, or Addison. We don't control any of that. Only the county is. So you negotiate a proposal that incentivizes the county to go to Addison, go to Crosby, go to Whitewater, go to Harrison, and say that this gives benefits to where you're talking about the fairness to our voters, and I agree with that. And so our taxpayers would see fairness because you have those other entities coming to the table, have to come to the table, and if they don't, then we have that 12-hour discount. And that would stay as long as it goes. So this is something that I haven't worked out all of it, but in just thinking of the proper coverage for our residents in Miami Township, including the 3 villages, I think it's important that we have more than just what we've always had. I think whether that's 2.5 or 3 cars or whatever it is, I think we need to look at that. So that would be some increase, but it would be less until the far west townships start to pay their fair share. That's just an idea I have. That's where we would show that we're kind of giving the give and take. We're not just saying 1 car, just like we've always done, but we're also not just, okay, where do we sign? You know, give me the paper and I'll sign whatever. That's the kind of creative ideas that I'm trying to inject into this conversation so that we
Well,
can.
we had a car, we had a 12-car car. That's okay, we're not gonna make a decision tonight. We'll look at this again, we got meeting again in 2 weeks. We'll look at it again, but we all have our opinion. I think it needs more coverage too, but it needs to be fair. And if there's nothing else, anybody got anything else tonight?
We need to,
Executive session.
we need to, the TIF appropriation, we need to increase 400,000.
Okay,
The good thing is, because I had to pay the school back, that means we got more money, revenue. So, but I have to increase that, to send to the county for their records.
So you need a motion
Yeah.
or to increase the fifth appropriation,
Right.
increase the 400,000.
Which went back to the school, but like I said, it's a calculation, we actually brought in more money. Okay.
I'll make a motion. Okay.
yep, sounds good.
Second,
Okay, Mr. Bland,
Yes.
Mr. Reiniger.
Yeah.
Mr. Robinson,
yes.
in that executive session.
Okay, your motion to go to executive session for personnel contract.
Well, have the exact wording, not only, but I need the exact wording, but, go into, I'm making a motion that we go into executive session that for consideration of personnel, of public employee and contracts.
I'll say.
Okay, Mr. Reiniger.
Yes.
Mr. Bland.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, turning out of the executive session, your roll call.
Mr. Blanton.
Here.
Mr. Reiniger.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Here.
Okay, Mike, keep on.
Yeah, I'll be brief, but after a extensive search and the process to find our next administrator, I'm pleased to make a motion that we hire James Brett. Pending that we come to a contractual agreement, which I have no reason to believe that we won't. But after conferring with the rest of the board, I think that he interviewed very well and brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to this position, and I'm excited that to be able to get him on board. So then I'll make a motion that we. Is there anything else I need to include in that? Okay, make a motion that we hire James Brett as a full-time administrator.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Blanton.
Yes.
Mr. Reiniger.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
And you want to make a motion,
Yeah, you can, Jack.
Good.
Who's the,
I'll make it. I'll make a motion that we accept a settlement agreement by an ex-employee that the whole board members has reviewed it and not approved it, but are approving it tonight. And they have knowledge of it, and I'll make that a motion that we move forward and approve that too.
I will second.
all right. Mr. Blanton.
Yes.
Mr. Reiniger.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
okay, make a motion that we break for a half. Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All right. Mr. Blanton.
Yes.
Mr. Reiniger.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.